Yeah, ho.
Yo, it's Terrance Prescott Barnes, and I'm back with a fantasy file. So, get ready, because there are a few X-rated components to this one. Now, if you're not into it, you might want to stop the video now. But if you want to continue, welcome to The Problem Is, I Want to See You After I Just Seen You. Characters: Terrance Prescott, Jinjo Einz, Hatsumomo Zio, Aratani, Utano, Zeikooh Mars, Braman, Ivish, Goojun, Bronco, Barret. And it goes a little something like this. We woke up, lips to lips, hanging on for dear life, like we don't have a whole 2 weeks of you and I time. Kissing to put out fires, kissing to start fires, kissing to end wars, kissing to cure the ill, kissing to fly as fast as comets. It was mighty as we moved forward, like intergalactic bulldozers, then stopping so we can nudge each other just right instead of causing the supernova. We were doing it and doing it and doing it so well that we were having constellations named after us, because it's better to make love out of nothing at all, to the point that the passion we made had them humming like we weren't there for a music festival. After it was all exploded, I asked him, what was he humming? He told me, a song I'm sure we'll experience at the stage. We were in Belgium for Tomorrowland, because we both set time for a vacation to meet each other again. His life in Japan is brilliantly celebrated over many video games, as he heavily continues to enhance his video game making career. He tells me all about it, and I know those feelings of creating love out of nothing at all, as well as calamity, disaster, trials, triumphs, and epilogues. It feels like you have a new song for your soul again, every time you decide to stick to an idea, from the two mental molecules rubbing on each other just right. Then the next thing you know, you have enemy covens fucking up 5 states trying to determine which coven will rule supreme. You have a Thai, Icelandic orphan who knows not a thing about his culture, but still becoming strong enough to become a politically righteous superhero. You have kingdoms coming together to show that even in heavy competition, everyone can walk away happy and proud. You have a tow truck driver that can sense the right and wrong doings of occupants of a vehicle, then turn around to help save the world from human trafficking. You have a woman who sings so strong and can make galaxies shimmer in unrealistic ways that will have any mind blown. Because the art of piecing nothing together at all is entertainment, and a capacity that's pure to just one vessel. Sharing it with others because the vessel believes in oneself is heaven sent. The music festival hasn't started yet, and it's been 3 days of in-person conversing about the creative process with another imaginative beacon of hope. I was satisfied, so everyone else could sit down until we decided to come out and be decent. Jinjo, old Jinjo, with his handsomeness that transcends perfectly melting orgasms, was just being his hot self. I was being my hot self too. We kept it hot over corn dogs, pancakes, noodles, milkshakes, and booze that had our 2 heavy asses jumping on that huge ass bed too many times. Then huff and puff after crazy laughter that would make you think we were 9 years old again. That was a problem. Then there we were, in line at the admissions entrance to get our VIP merchandise for the duration of Tomorrowland, getting all of the wrist stuff, the lanyards, and the IDs needed so we can be where we wanted to be. By each other understanding the words turn the beat up to its maximum capacity, as if we both knew that Samantha Mumba says it the best. The bass was already in the atmosphere, but so was the friendliness. I saw the flags of Mexico, Canada, Panama, Australia, Thailand, Cambodia, Japan, Malaysia, China, South Korea, Micronesia, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, and plenty more. It was beautiful, but the most beautiful thing was matching my outfit to Jinjo. He had on black coverall shorts with a red and white t-shirt, with simplistic, rectangular styles across his shirt. Had on red circular shades with mirror lens, a long silver chain with a silver quarter-sized dragon emblem on it, slim shoes, a black watch, and a red hat to the back, versus my blue coverall shorts with a green and white t-shirt, with rectangular styles up and down my shirt, beard lavender, eyes red, eyes behind mirror silver aviators, a green hat to the front, my silver score bracelet, slim shoes, and a long silver chain with a silver ring on it. It was hard to keep our necklaces from getting tangled whenever we hit shadows and could shroud a public display from all of our peeps. Hatsumomo, Aratani, Zeikooh, and Asher were here, welcoming, as ever, in similar outfits, keeping cool clothes on cause we will be dancing the night away eventually. We were accompanied by my buddy Ivish, an Arabian who has a huge loft in downtown Belgium that is very close to Tomorrowland. He gave us a place to stay so we can party our lives away without camping. The 7 of us were in high hopes from day one to day end, from dusk to dawn, day in and out. None of that could be touched by anything I've experienced in life so far. All everyone wants to do when coming to Tomorrowland is to dance with as many people as possible while DJs carry us into tomorrow. That's what we did. Purposely high, off the right concoctions and waving around our heads as if our necks weren't important, was an understatement to what actually happened. Ivish had all of the weed connects for Belgium. What he brought us to smoke after dinner on top of the edibles for midnight made every night smooth, making me thankful. I wish him a lovely journey throughout life. He didn't have to talk to me through scruff, but a friend around the world is a friend for life, and actually being able to do things with him made my quality of life zoom to the height of heaven. Minus all of the times we sexed and kept each other's hearts strong during drops of men. He was there at his place, happily waiting for me to arrive a day early, ahead of Jinjo and them. He had all the chocolate I ever wanted, and I had all the posters he wanted my signatures on. One from Kill, one from Hella Guns, one from Troubled Kingdoms, 2 from Remix, and 3 from Dreamer Making. Said I made his life complete, in different words, but it didn't end there. He warned me about interviewing me as well. He was hosting a nigga, so he got what he deserved, as we gleefully talked about some very incredible things. Questions that range from, how do I collect my muses, to what makes a writer write, to which character of mine do I think is the most beautiful, to why is chocolate a big component in my life to my first Tomorrowland experience, and what do I think will happen. I thought all I was going to experience is magic. Nothing more, nothing less. Then he had the nerve to ask me what kind of magic. I told him blood magic because what music does to my vessel is literal. It vibrates all centimeters of my capillaries and veins. All of them. Dancing is when life is what you want it to be. What I want it to be is organized rhythm at all times. But that can't be, unfortunately. Ivish and I reveled in finally closing a 1,000-mile distance, fitting in all of those times about voids that shook our existence, especially the ones with finding a compatible man to be with. When Ivish and I were out drinking on the first night, I told him if I can transfer the luck that intercepted my life to him, it would be transferred over the festivities of Tomorrowland. Love was in the air, and I was going to make sure I passed on all of those lovely vibes to Ivish. The way he said I described how Jinjo makes me feel sounded like I was gearing to write a new story. With the power Jinjo has on his membranes, it rivals all of my imagination land handling, and in very positive ways. The muse factor itself is a dangerous thing, but an inspirational factor is how I get motivated to the core. I can't explain how many times I've seen people in passing and just know that person is a contributing member of society. The good guys that mind their business, helps others' business, and parties like joy is the key to pleasure, are the ones that have a light in them. A light so powerful, there should be no mystery why I have over 2,000 characters. I come across them often and thank my lucky stars I still have it like this. Now back to the first day of Tomorrowland, then to the second day, then to the third day. We were hot like As Marie writing beats in the studio. Then the fourth day came up. The base of the atmosphere never let up. Neither did the thought processes of how I will be able to see him forever. Dead ass. Screw all of the bonding we did over Imagination Land. Things were happening that was giving me that beyond boyfriend material. Like that time we were leaving the base grounds. I was telling him about something I can't remember because he said, "Your voice is hypnotic." Stopped while I laughed, then I continued to talk and walk, but he stood a few feet behind me while I turned around laughing. The look of pain on his face didn't match his aura. His aura was exploding like a nuke that was going so slow, we eventually paused for a long time. That was a problem. Then there was the time we were hanging out on Ivish's balcony before we showered for the next night. We got on the subject of favorite things of the subconscious nature, or we both took the time to answer questions we were really thinking mad hard before we answered. We somehow got on the subject of our favorite video games. Moving in the direction of shit talking and competition had us laughing at Final Fantasy vs. Tecmo, where we got into deliberation of trying to one-up one another and who can provide the best combatants, and how they will be the winner. Jinjo was using some wild characters like Reptile of Mortal Kombat, Jersey Devil, Snake Man, Saberwolf, Michelangelo of TMNT, Crash Bandicoot, Leviathan, and Aisha Campbell because his favorite color is yellow. I was dying and living at the same time even though I was trying to outbattle him. When I said that I'm just as dangerous as Brad Wong, because no matter how deep the alcohol touches my soul, he'd still catch these hands and I'd beat the charge. Jinjo replied with, "Keep on, and it's going to be me as Christy and you as Elliot." That was one of the best comics I ever heard in my life. I laughed for a solid minute as I went to my knees and then went to rolling on the floor. That was a problem. Night 4 of Tomorrowland was what I was supposed to talk about. I apologize for digressing so hard. Jinjo knows of this DJ who is a fan of his. Huge fan. Who got inspired by his video game. Playing with my heart. You know, the dancing one that's like Dance Dance Revolution, but better than just dance. The one where he carefully curated his psychic powers to track makers that awarded him Video Game of the Year for that game. Yell at the hoe, get into that. Had the whole world going to sign up for exhaustion rehab because people started to get more in shape for the forever evolving game that is still being updated every season with new music. The DJ was named Skylarky. No jokes about dying and flying up to heaven because his beats were to die for. He created a set with a medley for the decade of playing with my heart's existence, having a 30-minute ending to his set. I never danced as hard as I did for 30 minutes, and neither did anyone else at the stage that night. It took me 5 minutes of catching my breath and wiping sweat away from my eyes before I could act right again. That was a problem. Regardless of the scale he inspires people, he inspired me. That's the most important thing from those problems. I was beginning to say fuck those problems so I can stay in this long-ass moment of pleasure of a vacation. It was a real love thing, and thanks to Culinary for singing it because I was being murdered daily. Resurrected every morning as we continued to peacefully get along. But it became ultimate when he said, "Let's do it, you and I night." For the 5th day, instead of attending the land of base, we had a romantic night. We walked around Belgium just to be with each other, to learn more about each other as we walked around shopping centers and parks. Jinjo would whistle in my mind, per his psychic abilities, whenever he wanted me to look at something. It was odd too, cause he would whisper in a way in my head that would make me look in a specific direction, always where he was standing, with a hand signaling me to come to him. Yes, a complex was beginning to be built because that was a problem too. Disregarding whatever gifts we bought, it was the quality time that was the biggest gift that day. That was a peaceful time to be alive until Ivish sent me a verbal message over WhatsApp talking about, get back now. So we rushed by flying through the buildings to get back because he didn't text me back after I texted him 13 times. Had me thinking something bad like a fire was set. But in reality, he wanted us to play truth or dare. He had this black guy from the States there by the name of Bronco. We met him on day 3, and as soon as I got there, I looked at everyone with a frown on my face and said, well, shit. I thought something bad happened, but at least we got another nigga in the building. Hey-o! And then Bronco said, hey-o! Everyone laughed as I asked, what did they want? It was around 8 p.m. and none of them were at Tomorrowland, because they wanted to play truth or dare. I rolled my eyes so hard a butcher knife appeared in my hands. We all told Ivish. Alright. We all told Ivish what we wanted to eat, and he had it all delivered to his place, but we were all 6 shots into a wrongful game of truth or dare. The food made it worse because it was all decadently seasoned Arabian food. Not too spicy to kill a digestive system, but decadent enough they had all 4 couples looking at each other like the second half of this lame ass game. Better hold no lies. Speaking of couples, Hatsumomo and Aratani are lovers, as well as Zeikooh and Asher. With the way Ivish and Bronco have been looking at each other, I'm sure there are about kisses coming up. It was funny, because when we met Bronco, we were all at the food court of Tomorrowland trying to get some food. He happened to be in front of us and looked back when we were all laughing. That big-ass pro of his, with that matching, handsomely bearded face, was inquisitive. Then he introduced himself, and I swear he shook Ivish's hand longer than anyone else's. But moving along, we all were too busy talking about truths while we ate. Then went back to theirs depending on whose plate was clean and took to the kitchen first. The only person that couldn't do a superpower there was Aratani, because it's explosion. Ivish told her she can't even fly out and do anything but the city because of Tomorrowland. Then again, if they had fireworks going off, she could have done something and got away with it. Missed the window of opportunity because it'd be like that sometimes. But from myself sculpting Jinjo's head real quick, to Jinjo making everyone float, to Ivish making us all super ice cream cones, to Zeikooh turning the entire room white, to Asher turning the entire room black, and to Hatsumomo making glow spores. It was all magical. The combination of superpowers, shots, and marijuana had us all tore up as Bronco took out his phone to look at a specific 3-dimensional model to imitate with his astronomy powers. We went from trying to one-up each other to him ending truth or dare with making a constellation look like Ivish. From the neck to his eyebrows to the top of his dome, stars were shining in the locks. Transparent, but still bright, and had us all acting like we were in a planetarium of Cosmo Canyon. Jinjo and my eyes crossed paths again for the 17th, 11th time, admiring the glory of somebody else's superpower, then admiring the gateways into each other's universe. Had me thinking about Vanessa Alicia's first to say. I slowly broke, thinking about her zipping through the sea of stars and colliding to actually make that supernova we avoided nights before. For now, we are on different continents. Now we are connected mentally because of what Bronco did. Jinjo threw me for a literal loop by taking my mind with his on a real trip. High off life turned into high everywhere. How in the hell we ended up surrounded by every planet and moon of the Milky Way? How? Jinjo was making out with me in our mental space as we continued to stare into each other's eyes in real life. It took us a while to come out of it, but there we were, both drooling when the atmosphere turned back clear. Everyone was looking at us like we have lost our minds. I mean, his four besties knew we had, but Ivish and Bronco were trying not to laugh until we said something. The two of them started rolling on the floor literally, while the other four still had that questionable look on their faces. Come to find out, Jinjo was the first one to say I love you. Keep in mind, I couldn't hear a damn thing while he had us locked in each other's mental space. But the six of them did. We all then began to freshen up after the truth of their commotion. But Zeikooh and Asher both took Jinjo away from me. I don't know when, but the three of them dipped off while I talked to the girls for a little bit before going to the guest room for Jinjo and I. The three gentlemen were out walking, talking about Jinjo breaking code. Before this trip, Jinjo told all four of them that if he says anything drastic, to pull him to the side and get him back. They were trying to get him back, but that ice sculpture of his dome threw him right onto the wrong track as soon as Bronco made the loft appear full of the Milky Way. Then Zeikooh and Asher asked him, what did he do? When he combined our minds, then they asked him to take a step back and think of something that would keep his emotions from jumping so hard. He would uncontrollably say, I love you. Jinjo thought about it over and over while his besties were doing exactly what he asked them to. But he was too busy enjoying his time with me. The three of them talked for a good while the five of us came back to the living room area of the loft to continue resting when we should be at Tomorrowland dancing our asses off. Yet, here they came. Jinjo was on the phone talking to his father while heading to the balcony. Then I saw the four besties talking to each other with concerned looks on their faces. Then Hatsumomo approached me. She told me that I did it, and there's no turning back. Then said that whatever Jinjo and I got going on was really going on. Didn't give me the basic best friend threat about hurting a friend. She basically told me we were a thing, then gave me a hug. I said thank you eventually because it was a long hug, then I signaled for Aratani to come over so I can get a couple's hug. Love those. When she finally got over there, she got my free arm, then I told the both of them, y'all know he about to move to the States, right? I was joking, but the both of them pushed me away and told me I better move to Japan. We laughed and laughed, but when they said it, it felt serious, then a mug. My heart stopped, though I broke into laughter and we talked for a little while. Then Ivish asked me what was going on. Had to entertain the six of them, and as I was telling them that Jinjo be wanting me something serious, Bronco put his hand to his heart and awed, severely loud, then covered his mouth. Apparently, Ivish done told him everything, and he wished us well. There was a bunch of purity going on for a long while Jinjo was on the balcony for a long time, talking to his father. Dead serious outside, pacing back and forth, looking as if something was wrong by rubbing his eyes hella hard. When I finally excused myself to check on him, he introduced me to his father, Kinoko. After I said hey, I asked him, so why did you name him Jinjo? Kinoko answered with, I just put some letters together. I didn't want him to have a name with a meaning because I'm not Christian. I covered my mouth from laughing excessively hard, and so did Jinjo. We were both staring at each other with our cheeks puffed full of air. Then Kinoko was like, hello? Cause we were so silent for a while, I composed myself to tell him that he wins the Father of the Year award. He then said, son, he's a keeper. Jinjo said, okay, fo, have to go, but get those contracts signed. Sorry, T. We had some business to handle. Then stood there silent with an awkward look on his face. I asked him if he was okay. Jinjo said he was, but his body language was giving me red alert. I screamed for Hatsumomo to come outside, and she told me he may need a moment. Now think about it. I didn't know anything about what was going on at that moment because nobody told me he said he loved me. But there he was, talking to his father about getting some video game business handled, as well as telling his father what he said, which explained why he called me a keeper. Hatsumomo pushed me into the loft so she could talk to Jinjo. I didn't see Jinjo for the rest of the 5th night until morning came, and it was time for us to sleep, so we can party the 6th night together. After finding out what happened, I would have gave him a long wordy hug. If I would have known, he was trying to guard his heart. He was afraid to get close to me that morning though, so I figured at that time I must have triggered something bad. Yet, when we woke up on night 6, he was back to normal, making me feel like whatever he went through, he let his body rest while he worked his subconscious in dreamland. Whatever he did had me silently giving up the cheeks. Did the Varwell away again. He gave me a mouthful, then sat on my face to soft twerk while he talked in Ryukyun. Had me thinking existence that this vacation is going to play in my memory real a lot for the rest of my life. Cause the explosion that happened when he was hitting my tongue just right had him exploding all over my beard. Then I wiped off my face so he can cuddle with my beard rubbing against his hair. He cuddled me so hard his psychic powers had my skin ripping for a few centimeters. I huffed and puffed for a very long time, then said, "Alright, now get your ass up. We got some more dancing to do." Yep, I'm all about the motion to create oceans. The 6th day picked up where we left off, taking group photos at Tomorrowland and dancing whenever the beats dropped. That night, we danced away from the stage, just a little. Did more hanging out around the entirety of the festival versus being at the stage. By midnight, we were all laying in a perfect bed of grass watching strangers come and go. Then we saw this woman with the right side of her body tatted up. Bronco was still hanging with us cause he could, but I wish he hadn't said what he said. "Yo, let's get tattoos." "Spit thing?" Aratani stood up so quick to come sit between Jinjo and I that I almost fell off the earth. But it was funny cause Mars opened up his arms immediately. Everyone was wondering why I was laughing so hard because I didn't say shit, but rolled over a little bit and started laughing with my face in the grass. Yes, I was higher than Lyrica Anderson when she thought of that song Ceiling. Baby, 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 let's go, get high to the ceiling, yeah, to the ceiling, yeah, let's blow, get high to the ceiling, yeah, to the ceiling, yeah. Nah. Then Jinjo was like, "How you go from rolling to singing?" Cause I don't know. So much happened in that moment. But Bronco was dead ass about getting tattoos, and Aratani and them were not. We got into a deliberation on why getting tattoos was a bad idea. But Ivish kept telling us to hurry up because he said his tattoo artist is open right now. Talking about y'all don't have to get it. But they didn't want to separate the group because we were having the most chill, splendid time before their woman walked in Bronco's view. So I forced them to focus on him, not Jinjo, because I could only guess it was another trigger. I was pulling it this vacation, and I kinda knew it, but that's just my usual, doing too much mood. Jinjo broke the deliberations with, "I don't have to get a tattoo, but if those two little birds want to, they can." Then Ivish and Bronco looked into each other's eyes similar to the way Jinjo and I did the night before. Because of where I was sitting, I dead ass saw a shooting star move from Bronco's left eye to his right. The whole 7 seconds of them staring into each other's eyes, then the shooting star materialized, and all I could say was, "Attaboy." To the tattoo parlor, dream pens we went. Ivish was in line when he said the name of the tattoo parlor. It was solid high pink, with neon blue lights everywhere in the lobby. I was too high for this. I grabbed Jinjo's hand and he immediately said he wanted to get a tattoo, but only if I draw it. Hatsumomo and Aratani both broke our holding hands, and then Aratani put her finger on my chest to push me away from him. I asked her what's up, and they told me I can't link with Jinjo like that. But why though? Jinjo finally told me he wasn't trying to get angry to me like that, and he asked them to keep that from happening. They were just being the besties they have always been. Yet, I wasn't trying to hurt this man. I was just giving him what he wanted. Then Zeikooh said it isn't a good idea because of things said before the trip. I then looked at Jinjo to ask him, why are you holding back? He simply walked to me to give me a hug and to tell me that he loves me. All four of them started acting real black right then, walking back and forth with the painful, regretful face on tenfold while smacking their foreheads. Everyone else laughed, but them. I mean, come on. They were acting a whole fool because Jinjo broke his rules of telling me that. I had to break their tantrums by yelling, "Can I say it back though? I love you, baby." Jinjo turned into a whole feather as he floated into my arms and stayed there gleeful until I let go a little just to let him know that's enough of hugging for 45 minutes. He descended to the floor while still clutching me ever so manly, then said, "Your voice is hypnotic." Asher followed it up with, "Attaboy." I'm sorry. Okay. Long story short, Jinjo has had this secret tattoo out there that was brought to my knowledge before I finally got a pen and paper. Told me that it would be of 6 Jinjos, rainbow colored with spray cans, spraying the infinity sign across the upper part of his back. Dope. The drawn image is already on his phone. I didn't have to draw after all. He got the outline done after 50 minutes worth of time. Grueling to most, nothing to him since he's a super being. Said he might as well get it done tonight because of all of the rainbow love around at the moment. Took him no time to force super being healing so the tattoo artist could finish the entirety of the coloring too. The tattoo artist finished the tattoo with red. While she was doing the red, I asked him, what was the last graffiti art he did? He showed me what appeared to be a giant python slithering around a very big-sized building. How though? He chuckled and told me that at 0200 in the morning, it's his time. I gave him a fist bump, then he told me that was done when he was 18. Said it was his memory anchor to leaving high school behind on a happy note, disregarding everything as if he actually didn't have a bum-ass time in high school. I'll have to expose his high school life another time though. The tattoo artist and I had to take a breather after that because of the way he was smiling when he said it. Now he's anchoring this vacation. No, I'm not that self-centered. Something great has been happening ever since we came across Bronco. Not only were we doing it and doing it and doing it well, my luck has rubbed off on Ivish to the point that the two of them were basically doing what we did in Tomorrowland. If 3 couples of the gay community are connecting in a very prideful way over musical adventures, he might as well celebrate with getting that tattoo he has always wanted. As soon as the tattoo artist said she was done and did the final wipe, Jinjo looked at me and simply said, I'm happy now. After Ivish and Bronco finished up getting their single stars on the back of the base of their left index fingers, Bronco wanted to get fireworks started on his left shoulder blade area. The finishing red, orange, and yellow colors definitely looked like a celebration. When the 8 of us were standing in the lobby, I could see the love in the eyes of the 2 actual couples, Plush Ivish and Bronco. Jinjo and I were being silent but talking mentally to each other. I told him that has got to be the life. Lovers in love is such a wonderful thing, and asked him, did he think Ivish and Bronco would test their motives? He said, I see our first trip in them. Tomorrow night might be painful for them, but it will be worth it. You're worth it. Then grabbed my hand. I looked him in his eyes as the jovial energy of the atmosphere helped me ask, we should be together, right? When I said I love you, babe, It wasn't just to save face. Will you pee me? Jinjo simply answered with yes and squeezed my hand in a way no man has ever squeezed it. Then we joined in on the conversation of the lobby, moving in the direction of getting some food before we returned to the loft to prepare for the final night. The final night eventually came, but there was something we desperately was trying to slow down time for because DJ Villa Cruz is going to close out Tomorrowland the proper way, with black females over electronic music, bringing a sense of bittersweet ending that reminds everyone where this kind of music comes from. Rumor has it that she was going to be featuring nothing but all black female vocalists that I love the most. A whole 5-hour set featuring Ajiana Alexis, Tierra Marie, Electric Barbarellas, Georgia Costa, Paul Oakenfold, Nadia Ali, The Stunners, Good Girl, Missy Elliott, Red Bands, Azealia Banks, Rai, Raven Lene, Sophia Fresh, Jayla Darden, Izza, Jessica Jarrell, Maya, S.G. Lewis, Yves Y, NCS, Justine Sky, Dumb Blonde, Don Richard, and closing it out with an unknown track that was going to have us in the USA. With the way the website puts it, everyone is hyped for the last track because her original work alone could fill out 5 hours. But the entire description of it had my capillaries and veins sprung. When midnight struck, all 8 of us was already at the front row of the stage. Then there she came, looking like the embodiment of an it girl. This is how she looked. All purple diva, wavy hair with lavender makeup, red lips, and a glittering lavender one-piece swimsuit, red nails, red Jetas, a giant ruby on a silver chain, and her famous giant red headphones. Villa Cruz welcomed us by saying, "It's your woman, Villa Cruz, bringing down the mansion while you swerve on state troopers. But let's park the stereo system on the coast and really make them waves big. This is not the end, because y'all will remember these hours for the rest of your life, and I will see y'all again and again and again. Y'all ready to become best friends with fireworks?" Wow. That was huge. Y'all are definitely ready. Let's make this party last forever. She definitely let us know that she was on the stage because when the first beat came on, I couldn't hold back any tears of joy. Up there looking like Giante, God luck, dark chocolate skin under all the rainbow lights and fireworks that just won't quit. Neither did myself. I know deep down in my spirit, I danced harder, better, longer, and faster than everybody out there. And there we all were. After a full hour of Don Richard, she warned us that the goodbye was coming. Then we heard a bunch of gibberish. Specific gibberish only black folks that replay the argument once a month know. Sheree versus Marlo. All I know is, that was the happiest 6 minutes of my life listening to them fine women arguing over Aston Martins, sugar daddies, building a house, and nonsense, while my hips told the truth to the synths, the piano, the Pro Tools, the bass, and how she somehow got both of them to reenact the argument over that track for real. I swore they had to be rapping that argument, and the gibberish part made it entirely euphoric. Then, as soon as it was all done, I pulled my phone out and took a group photo so I could note this up to remember to buy the track as soon as possible. Tomorrowland may have been over, but Jinjo and I were not. We had 2 more days of soaking each other up and figuring out how we will handle each other after this trip. There's no other way to put it than being willing to do it. For the way he says hypnotic, for the way he takes ass pics, for the way we boned each other to that Gary Oak remix, for the way he whistles in my mind, for the way he doesn't hold my inability of whistling against me, for the way he hums when he sleeps, for the way he jokes with his lifelong friends, for the way he anticipates meeting mine, for the way he'll screenshot my Lucky Things Tumblr archive at random, for the way he sings Crystal K's telepathy on his Insta stories at random, for the way his mind works. I'm willing to do it, 'cause he's willing to do it. When the opportunities present themselves, go with them. You're supposed to follow that pleasure, build with that pleasure, cultivate that pleasure, so you can replace all of the bad memories with the good. When the next time a nigga acts like he wants you, do the same. The golden rule is the heaven of a drug. After all, the problem is, I want to see him after I just seen him, and that was the last thing I said to him. Jinjo lastly said to me, we'll work on seeing each other forever, because we will see each other forever.